morning. Good morning. Everyone. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Spreading Love Unapologetically. Today is episode 7. And I have a beautiful co-host this morning because my co-host, I don't know where she is. Neat, welcome to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Hey, y'all.
Okay. So as always, we try to give shout outs. And so you have any shout outs this morning?
Today the twins' birthday. Happy birthday,
Oh,
aunties.
happy birthday. Oh, wow. How they doing?
They good. I talked to Auntie Trina. I don't know what Auntie Kat doing. I don't know why she keep acting like she grown, not answering her phone. I don't know why y'all be thinking y'all be grown.
Oh, well, make sure you show them this. They're going to laugh. More shout outs?
um, no. Oh, hey, mommy.
You know she watching.
Hey,
Yeah.
mommy.
So I just want to shout out my daughter as usual. I just want to thank God for this week. It's been an interesting week, and I want to thank Him for getting me through it. A shout out Elijah Wine. Um, it's been up and down this week, but I thank God for His friendship. And I want to shout out the Salvation Army in Mansfield, Ohio. They did an amazing job with the community this past week. And everybody who's boots on the ground out there handling people and taking care of people and our citizens. And that's about it. So I wanted to make it quick because 30 minutes is not a lot of time. But this, the stories on the internet have been going hard, and it had me thinking like a couple weeks ago. I've been for the past couple of years, I've been helping people, reach their goals and their dreams, And I was like, God, when God puts something on your heart, you have to pay attention. You know what I'm saying? You have to, because He'll keep reminding you. And I think that it was kind of because, oh, there she goes. Oh my God, there's my sister. I think it was because of everything going on in the news, you know what I'm saying? And it kind of triggered me to say, "Oh my God, I've been holding back me a lot." And I think it's because, you have fears of how people, you better come back, how people think and feel, about your story. But I have a story too. But this thing with Diddy, and that's all everybody seems to be talking about, girl.
I've been having to keep quiet about that.
I know you have. I know you
I,
have.
I've had to. I try not to really talk much on, situations that's going on because we really don't know the whole story. Even though what we do know is infuriating. Um,
Yes.
I can't touch that right now because
Yeah. I can't either. So let me say this. This podcast is about a lot about domestic violence, but also, hey Frank, thank you for watching. It's also a lot about how it affects the kids. Because we are both survivors of things that have happened in the household. And so it made me think about my childhood. This past couple weeks, all I've been thinking about is my childhood. And it's like triggers, up and down triggers. I've been emotional, like from up and down, sleeping, all kinds of stuff. And I'm just like, okay, God, I hear you. I hear you. My cousin Roxanne has told me repeatedly, I have no idea how you are still living and surviving. You should have been dead. Hey, sis, there she goes.
hey,
Your volume is up.
welcome finally.
Ah,
Wait,
hey.
no.
She in that car, but my Roxanne has repeatedly, told me, and she's been one of my biggest blessings to help me, move forward in life. But when you have a rough start, a rough childhood, it affects you, and people don't think about that. I have nothing to say about anyone that's been in a violent situation at all. I had a coaching with one of my sorors last week, and okay, so she was helping me figure out what it is that I wanted to do, what I wanted to focus on. Since I focus on many different areas, um, Elijah always tells me you all over the place. You're doing
Yes,
this, you're doing that, you're doing this. Focus
that's what
on what you want
Virgos
to do.
do.
Right. Focus what you want to do. What's important to you, honey. And so when I had this coaching, she helped me. Thank you, Jarvis. She really helped me focus on what was important to me. When I was a child, I was born in the 1970, in an era where interracial marriage was, like, my dad was a Black Panther and a musician, entertainer, traveling all over the country. And my mom was right there with a white lady, walking around like, hey, but she was down for the cause, I promise you. But my dad was, he came from a very abusive family as well. And so um, I don't want to, dishonor my father at all, but I have to tell my truth, and my truth is really a lot to do with growing up with my father. And I love my dad. We, when we got older, we developed an amazing relationship, but he was abusive to every woman he's ever been with, because of his abuse, I didn't have a mother. Because of his abuse, my sisters and brothers didn't have their father, and because of his abuse, so many people's lives were affected. Well, as my sister Carla, who is studying for her doctorate right now, about to take her dissertation, she sent me some major information to help me understand the trauma from abuse, emotional trauma, physical, emotional, social, the decisions that we make, not being able to set healthy boundaries, growing up. And as I was reading all of this information, thank you, Carla, that she sent me, it hit me like, oh my God, this is my life, I made so many unhealthy decisions in life because of this, you know what I'm saying? And it was just like, wow. And so I started dating guys like my dad. They were aggressive, they were smooth operators, they were fine, but they did not have my best at heart, you know. And so I remember my best friend Pat, and I'm gonna call her Pat because I know she watching.
She is. She texts me.
And I know, sis. That's right, cousin. My best friend, Pat, she had a brother, and he was, I remember it was my birthday, and we were staying down the way, and I rode up. I was on my motorcycle. It was on my birthday, September 13th. I'll never forget it. And I rode up on my motorcycle, and he was sitting on her porch. And I'm like, who is this fine piece of specimen? I was, hey, that was your auntie. And I said hi, he said hi, and I went in the house and I talked to Pat, blah, 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 left out, didn't think nothing of it. I just noticed him at that time. Didn't really know his history, didn't really care. I was in a relationship. A couple years later, I seen him again. I think I was at her house or whatever. And he invited me to his birthday party. His birthday is July 14th. And the rest is history from there. That's all I got to say. But anywho, long story short, I was driving down. You remember where your mom used to stay on off of 93rd, Hold or whatever?
Calder. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good morning. Good morning. And I was driving past there not too long ago, and all of these memories started like flashing back, like literally flashing back. And they say that when you're in a violent situation, you need to start thinking about where it started and the red flags. And so as I was driving past there, it hit me. All of a sudden, everything just hit me. I remember I was working for the county, And I was not an hourly employee, and so I didn't have the liberty of leaving, because I get off work at 4:30. I get off at 4:30. No, as a salary employee, you leave when the job is done. And so that in particular day, I had a lot of things going on, and I left when I got off work, which was kind of late. It was about 5:30, 6 o'clock. I had a person who tried to commit suicide. My job, because I work for the commissioners, was to handle it. And so when I got to Pat's house, he was there. We were sitting in the car, and the way he questioned me, you know, it should have hit me then, but it didn't, because I didn't have healthy boundaries. You know what I'm saying? It was not a love me first, as my cousin says. But from that point forward, the abuse started. And that was the emotional and social abuse. Fast forward a couple years, people say, and I've heard people say this, and it hurts my heart when they say this. It really, I cringe every time I hear someone say this. Why didn't you get out? Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you this? Why didn't you that?
I
But
hate that
I
passion.
hate it too, because unless you're in that situation, and that control, unless you're in a situation, you don't understand what the cycle of abuse looks like. It was literally, I love you, I love you, I love you. Here's your flowers. Um, Boom. Let me break your leg. Boom. Let me hit you in the eye. Boom. Let me do this. Let me do that. I'm not going to be as graphic as I would like to be, but years of that, it breaks you all the way down until I got enough courage to say, I had enough of this shit. And I did. I had enough of that shit. From broken legs to having to take off work to making excuses. But what gave me the courage was my children, you know, to see my son say, hey, mom, you're a queen. You don't have to go through this. This is my kid talking to me. And then he, once I got enough courage to say, I had enough of this, I had enough. And then statistics show, and this is not just me, but statistics show when a woman goes to leave or get out of a abusive situation, that is the most dangerous time. I called myself planning. I had a whole support system, but that wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. And so when, I kicked him out the house, I said, go on about your business. I don't want to be with you anymore. This dude broke into my house. Um, and I can't talk about,
Take your time.
I still can't talk about what happened. But I can say I'm thankful I'm alive. Hmm. Whew. I can say that I lived through it. And unfortunately, I've healed. I moved on. But my kids, they haven't. And so I want my kids and everybody else's kids and women to understand. I understand. I do. I get it. But your kids, they're the ones that suffer. They're the ones who are impacted. They're the ones, when they're kids, up until their adulthood, my kids have gone through not feeling loved. You know, they witnessed trauma as young kids. And so the decisions that now that they had to make, based upon their trauma that they witnessed, they carry that with them. My oldest is 38 years old, and it's still traumatic, for him. And even though he's healing or healed in that area, it still affects him. His decisions, the decisions that he makes. My daughter, Nicole, same thing. The decisions that they make, because it affects our kids mentally. That is my plea to people who have been in abusive long-term relationships. Think about your kids. Think about how it's going to affect them, because they're going to grow up. They're going to get older. For me, seeing him in prison was a good thing. However, I still had to live. I lived in fear. I remember not long after it happened, the house that we stayed in, it had these outside steps, long steps coming outside. And my son, I couldn't sleep at night. I would go days, I couldn't sleep. I still can't live in a house with a basement that has two doors. I still can't. I just can't. And so that's why an apartment feels comfortable to me, and um I remember my son picking me up. He literally picked me up and he walked me down some steps because I couldn't even go outside for months. I had to move out of a house and I just started moving from place to place. It affected my credit, it affected my life, it affected everything, and it still does. I'm not gonna lie. I've been to and I still go to counseling today. Elijah Wan always says, when you're going, I'm going to counseling. I need it, because I still have nightmares. When I see that gun pointing in my face and I see him pulling that fucking trigger, and I thank God, that is my testimony, and that bullet getting stuck. I still see that today. It's like it happened yesterday, or him, taking my clothes off and doing what he did and raping me. I still can feel him on my body. And it's just like people think, oh, it happened 20 years ago, but you can still feel it. It's just right there. The difference for me is I survived. People want to say I'm a warrior, whatever words you want to use, where I survived, but my children are still affected by it. My children can still, the way they communicate. And I watch, even with you, the things that you've had to go through. You know, my call, my plea to people is please find enough courage to get out. Please find enough strength to move forward. You know, my abuse as a child allowed my life to have some of the most crazy situations. That was the most abusive, but it didn't end there. I still dated guys that wasn't shit after that. People were able to take advantage of a broken person after that happened. I did some not so good things after that because, I felt like I was completely worthless after that, and, you know, and that's why, when people talk about, oh, God is this, I'll be like, I know God is real. I know he's real
Amen.
because I should be dead right now. So I know God is real, you know, and the backlash, the hardest part. I was just talking to Elijah one about this the other day. The backlash is is remembering who was there and who wasn't, and being able to forgive those people, being able to forgive them in the way that God wants you to, you know, and understanding that I love you no matter what. But I will say this: if you have a family member who was going through this, they definitely don't need to feel alone. I promise you. They don't need to feel like, yeah, they go back. I know I went back over and over and over again. I know my family got tired of that. Hell, I got tired of it.
I love
But
it.
once that person makes up their mind fully and they move forward, they need someone to help them. They need a a landing place. You know, sometimes they can't be with family because that person knows where that family is, and so it's not safe. I had to have birth certificate, social security card. I had all that together. I had a plan. By the time I was tired, I had a plan. I had a whole plan. And I was able to get away. Believe it or not, I went into my ex-husband's house and I stayed there. He kept me there safely to make sure I was okay. Him, and my daughter, we were fine. The crazy part is I have a big family. I have a big family. 5 sisters, 3 brothers. None of them was able to help me. None of them. you know, and talked about dogs and all kinds of stuff. None of them helped me. So, you know, and I'm okay with that because it all it did was make me stronger. It gave me what I needed, you know, to move forward. And I hope that women understand, you know, my cousin and I was talking about this as well, you know, the physical, you know, bruises and stuff, you know, they heal, you know, but it's the mental and emotional that I struggle with. It's the mental and the emotional that I have to constantly deal with, even since, you know, since that happened.
Amen.
Even all my relationships now, I have to check myself because what happens is when you've been abused, you become an abuser. You become abusive if you don't heal properly. You know, you know, I went to IOP when I was getting out of the army, intensive outpatient therapy. They taught me about grief, you know, grief therapy, and I went through trauma therapy. And that was the most traumatic thing for me because then I had to remember everything from my childhood. You know, I was like, I don't want to do this again ever. But it helped me see who I was and where I've been and where I'm at right now, you know. And so, and that was just the domestic violence, you know. I think the next person that tried to put their hands on me, I broke a couple bones. I don't think he'll ever put his hands on me again. You know, because my personality, you know, people take your kindness for a weakness, you know, and yeah, he's got some broken bones, so, and I don't care. I'm just keeping it
As
real.
you should.
You know, he thought I was crazy by the time I got through with his butt, and I was, you know, I black out now. Oh, you want to put your hands on it? Okay.
Yeah, I fight back.
Yeah, I fight back now, you know, and I fight back in the worst ways. I have no remorse at all. I have no remorse.
Don't blame me.
I hit hard. I hit extremely hard. So, um, thinking about that and thinking about where I am today and thinking about what my mission in life is really to help women understand, you know, society is going to talk about you. People are going to talk. It just is what it is. They're going to judge you. And any man who throws it in your face, he ain't shit. And I said what I said. He
Mm-hmm.
ain't shit. Get away from him. You know, you don't have to go through that. You don't have to feel like you're worthless. You don't have to feel like you're the bottom of, you know, the scum of the earth because someone has done these things to you. Um, find your strength. You know, I know it's hard and I know you're afraid, but find your strength. I've been there. Dominique's been there. We've been there. Her mama's definitely been there. You know, and that's how I met her. So, um, anything you don't take
Um,
on.
no. It's of course it's always hard to hear because I know the story, but I don't know the story because it's not something that you really talk to me about in depth. Um, so it's hard to hear, but God, the way He be moving, honey.
Girl,
So let me tell you the decision that I decided on and how you just um confirmed that this is what I need to do. We know I didn't change my major 8,500 times,
I know.
right?
Mhm.
I'm going back for psychology and I'm going back for trauma therapy because it aligns with what it is that I'm trying to do as far as helping other women. So that definitely just confirmed that yeah, I need to go ahead and go back to school for that
Yeah,
and that.
I
So
have to agree.
so so yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um but no, like and I know it's hard. My mom tried leaving a million times and was found. So it's
yeah,
not, and it's definitely not easy when you got family that's instead of standing with you or standing against you and talking behind your back. And yeah, you're gonna have trolls on here that's gonna say, "Oh well, she deserved it," and she like you gonna get all of that.
yeah.
But
I hear
you
that all
never
the hear that all the time. Oh,
Yeah.
she likes it. Oh,
Hmm.
someone recently said to me, I see why the motherfuckers put their hands on you.
I've heard that too. And it's crazy. And it's like, okay, so you're definitely the type of person that I need to stay away from. But what you're not going to do is come and talk to me disrespectfully.
Crazy.
I don't give a
Disrespect.
damn how you may feel about my situation.
Yes.
It's my situation. You didn't live it, you weren't there.
Thank
So
you.
how dare you? How dare you? You're probably one of them. That's probably it. That's it right there. You
Girl,
probably one of them.
what I do know, and I try to have grace for certain people because
Just
it's hard, you know what I'm saying? But I think that one of the things that I've been learning, and this is just from talking to scholars, and talking to people who have lived our story, is when you've been abused or you've gone through trauma, oftentimes you start to display that if you don't heal, it's got to come out somehow. Some people, they say some people become successful, they move on, it never affects them. I would love to be one of them people. And some
I don't.
people, it affects them in a bad way. And for men who have experienced trauma, especially from their father, um, tend to display those type of behaviors, until someone brings it to their attention. You know, I know that a lot of men who have been traumatized, they try to over exceed. They either become like that person or they say, but then they become like control freaks for their lives, and that's been my biggest thing is trying to control everything in my life.
Mm-hmm.
This don't, no, I gotta have it like this. No, no, no. I gotta do it like this. And hell, I drive myself crazy sometimes. I'd be like, oh, I can't control everything.
Yes.
I can't control everything. And it still happens. I'm 53 years old and it still happens. I cannot control everything. But I know God can. I know God can. And so I have to wake up, and every day, my sister Tina, she and I love this verse in the Bible that speaks of new mercy. God gives us new mercy every morning. And when I wake up and my eyes open, I'm like, oh, God, thank you. You give me another opportunity. You know, to the men who took advantage of me after my rape, God got you. Believe that.
Definitely do.
You
Definitely
know.
do. It's going to be a
Um,
beautiful thing.
but I don't even blame them. It is what it is. I could say chats. And someone said, what did they just say? The laws have to change. Yes, they do. Cousin, yes, they do. The laws definitely do. She said abuse is abuse, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, financial, it is abuse.
Amen.
Yes, it is abuse. People don't often speak about the financial abuse.
They
You know,
don't.
they don't. And in terms of the laws in the state of Ohio, they're submitting the bill for the third time. Senate keeps shooting it down, for domestic violence. It's crazy. Major people get hurt. All of a sudden, the whole country is talking about it. But when it's local, it's somebody in your family, somebody that you know, it's unimportant, which is baloney to me. People are fake to me. You sitting over here talking about Diddy and what's her name, whatever that girl's name is, blah blah blah. But then your next door neighbor or your cousin, your sister, your mama, your friend is going through the same situation, and you ain't got nothing to say. You don't have anything. You don't have an encouraging word. You don't have anything. In order for our communities to be able to heal, we got to start talking about these things. We got to be real about it. I know I had an aunt who loved me so much that she spoke life into me because from birth, I swear for God, from birth until 5, I experienced nothing but trauma. I was born into trauma. And so she spoke life into me, and she told me, "No, it's not like that. It's like this." When I think back over my life, I see all of the people that God placed in my life to deter me from certain things. Even from being in jail. As a teenager, I served my time. I had a juvenile felony. And I served my time as a juvenile, and I got a second chance as a juvenile. And I thank God for that, because my life could be like totally different, which is why I do what I do today. You know what I'm saying? And domestic violence in itself is a silent killer. Corazon Applewhite and my sister.
Yeah.
Whether it's in your soul or your body. Yes, it is. And
Mm-hmm.
the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy, but you can't kill, steal, and destroy something God has ordained. Someone He's ordained. You can't do it. You can break them down. You can definitely break them down, but you can't kill, steal, or destroy someone God has ordained. And there's so many people out here who commit suicide. Suicide rates are high because of this.
Mm-hmm.
Alcohol, drugs. I went through my bit of alcohol. That's for sure. To more. Theodis Minor says trauma affects everyone different. This entire race has been infected with trauma. Yes, it has. You must expound on the psychology of domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
Psychology, and I know he's talking about the wheel, and this of repetitive cycles. You know what I'm saying? The repetitive cycle of domestic violence and how it affects you mentally, socially, emotionally, and again, my focus is always on the children, and how it affects them. And I know it affects the person being abused, man or women, but I know for sexual abuse in a man, it affects him, the psychology and how it affects him. That's another podcast that we can get into. We only got so much time, and Gaylisa ain't even. I can see her down there. She's listening in.
She
Thank
was
you.
trying. She was trying.
She tried. She know I would talk about her. I would call her, but we went. But I
Look,
think
she heard you.
that's that's
What'd you say?
you heard what I
I hears you, lady. How
said.
are you guys this beautiful day?
It is beautiful.
Happy Saturday.
Saturday.
Much love. I've been right here. I got you.
Honey.
Back
I
to back.
know.
I'm with you.
Thank you, baby.
Both of y'all.
Um,
Yeah.
Thank you.
where you headed, girl?
Shout out to everybody. I'm on my way to Pride in Dayton. I got
Okay.
grandson right here too.
What grandson? Let me see grandson.
He sleep.
I can see my baby. Oh,
Grandson, look up.
Knocked out.
hey, baby. Oh my God. Look at him.
Tamara.
Oh, God, his
He
guy's so
tall as me.
cute. He tall as you
Wow.
now? Oh my God. Look at
Yes.
his facial structure has changed so much. Oh my God. Yeah. Hey, handsome.
Yeah. He
There
get
go
ready
my
to be a
sister.
teenager.
Got Ale Wanda in the house. That's
Hey,
my sister.
hey, sis.
Says
Hey, sis.
everybody, this is Ale Wanda, as we call her. That's two.
Hello.
Hey,
Hey.
honey.
Hello.
Thanks for popping in. You got any last minute
Sorry.
comments? Did you listen in, sis?
I didn't get a chance to listen in. I couldn't get on because of my phone.
Okay. Uh, Mr. Miner said, "What's up, gay Lisa?" She can't hear us. She riding.
Nothing.
Um. So
Nothing.
thank y'all for popping in. Gay Lisa, call me when you get there. Thank you. Thank you.
All
Thank you. I
right.
hope our
Love you.
story.
See?
Thank you, honey. I hope that our story has helped someone. I hope that it gives you the strength to understand that it's better to be out and getting counseling for your children if you have kids. It's better to be able to move forward. It's better to have the support of a family and to stay in a situation. I'm not telling you stupid at all for staying in a situation at all. I'm not, because I understand that when we don't love ourselves, when we got things going on internally, and we don't know what real love looks like, or healthy boundaries, we stay in bad situations. And I get that. I don't have anything negative to say about you. What I do have to say is you've got to somehow dig deep in, Because I promise you, one of my biggest regrets is staying longer, you know. And even though people say, you know, you did what you did, I stayed longer than I had to. You know, had I loved me, that would have never happened. You know, and that's what people do. Psychology of it is weak men, you know, pick on they attach themselves to weak women. And I'm sorry if you can't understand that, you know. Some men feel when they tear a woman down by talking to her, that's not abuse, but it is. You're tearing down the self-esteem of that person. Well, yes, that's exactly what the cycle of violence looks like. You know, it's um what did they say? And I don't have my stuff in front of me because yeah, I've been emotionally jacked up because of this. But you know, cycle abuse starts